And welcome to Strangers Stopping Strangers, podcast 11. Thank you so much for joining. A big welcome back to anybody who's returning to the podcast, and a thanks for joining to anyone who's new this week. So today's podcast is going to air on Tuesday, August the 9th, which is 8 days after the last podcast that aired on Monday, August 1st, otherwise known as the days between. And it's been an amazing week. This is really the first year that I've been tuned into the Deadhead community at this level. And, you know, just watching everybody's pictures and posting and music and all the live shows in tribute to Jerry has just been really cool. It's just been an awesome week. So that is, it's been a big week. And, you know, it's funny, I've been sort of thinking about the Jewish high holidays, which, you know, start at Rosh Hashanah and end at Yom Kippur, which is 10 days. And I just recently listened to a podcast on Jamcast, the host Mark Fiona and guests Jake Blakesberg and David Gans. And they called it the Hanukkah for Deadheads. So clearly the sentiment is not lost only on me. So like we did on Monday the 1st, let's take a moment and tip our hats to Jerry Garcia's life and all the music and all the love and all the inspiration that he gave to us and continues to give to us. So today's podcast, I have a really cool guest, Ian Bernstein, and I'm calling him a second generation Deadhead. And we get into our story on the podcast, but he is 17 years old and just so fun to hear him talk, and his enthusiasm is contagious. And it's a good example of Strangers Stopping Strangers, you know, really weighing in from everyone in the community, from your experience and age, and everyone brings something to the table, and I loved talking to him. It was really fun. And then I have to say, we have a special extra guest, Cosmic Charlie. His airplane landed, and we said, how do you do? So please listen to that after the podcast is finished with Ian, and I'm sure everyone will be very excited to hear from him. It was pretty special getting a chance to talk to him. So as always, thank you for tuning in and enjoy. So welcome, Ian, to Strangers Stopping Strangers. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you on. So Ian is now officially my youngest Deadhead joining the podcast. We met on Facebook, yes?
Yes, on the Deadlock group. Everyone go on there and join.
And I have to tell this story. Ian posted this very cool, conversation about Donna Gottschalk, and I weighed in on it and said that I started going to shows in '88, and you weighed in and said that you were born in '99, and I couldn't believe, based on the insights and your music knowledge, that you were 17. It just blew me away, and I just had to get to know you better.
Yeah, well, as I said, I mean, I've loved the Dead for as long as I can remember, pretty much, and I guess it all really started, I was about 6 years old, and my dad, he was actually a very big Deadhead. He saw his first show, I believe it was March 30th of 1976, I think it was a Jerry Garcia Band show, and I have all his ticket stubs and everything. I love going through them and backstage passes and whatnot. But anyways, I was about 6 years old, and we were driving back from, I don't know, a grocery store locally in Florida, and we sat in the garage for 13 minutes, and he wanted to finish his song, and I was like, well, what's so great about all this? And it was Fire on the Mountain, turns out, and ever since then, I've always been into that song and got more and more into the Dead, and I started listening to studio albums and whatnot, and then I discovered the world of live Dead, all the live music and recordings, and I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. Absolutely. I mean, the last song we're going to play is actually from the set that you suggested. That was from 1968, which is so great because, they changed so much, but to have, clearly you're, plugged into every incarnation, and that's so fun. I think it's really, really great. Let's start off with a song, and then we're going to come back and talk some more. So we'll go early on to the song. So I've been wanting to play this concert because it's such a famous concert, and you are the first person, my friend, that has suggested this specific show. So I'm going to play Fire on the Mountain from Cornell, right, 1977. Yes. Any insights on that concert? Want to talk a minute or two about your feelings on it?
I cannot get enough of that show. I mean, the Brown-Eyed Woman, the Scar Fire on that, the Road Jimmy, the Jack Straw, just everything about that show is just amazing. Like, it's just a perfect show.
Yeah, it's definitely one for the books, and it comes up over and over as, really just a textbook awesome, just in the moment show. So I'm excited to play something from it. So this is the first time I'm going to play. I'm going to go straight into Fire on the Mountain. I'm going to skip the Scarlet because I did Scarlet Fire last week, and I'm just going to focus on the Fire on the Mountain. So I'm going to play for everybody here that is listening and enjoying Fire on the Mountain from Cornell on May 8th, 1977. Everybody enjoy. get it on the podcast.
That's the best.
And we're going to, so good. We are going to go from 1977 to modern times now. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on.
Well, just Dead and Company, it's just so amazing that they formed the band and whatnot. And in my opinion, it's the best thing since probably late 93. I mean, of course, there were some good shows in 95 and 94, but I just think it personally blows further out of the park. I mean, the other one, The Dead, as in The Dead as the post-Gary group, of course. And just Mayer's such a good fit, and I don't think they could have picked anyone better. And just amazing. And luckily for people that can't make the show like me, since I'm so young, I can't travel everywhere with school and whatnot. I mean, the couch tour, just that whole industry, if you will, it's just such an amazing thing. I mean, I haven't missed a show yet.
Well, it's just so cool that the community, like if you can't go to the community, that the community comes to you, you know? I mean, that you can be listening, and you were telling me about an app. Tell me about the streaming app, because this is so cool.
Well, there's Periscope, and I believe that's through Twitter, and then there's also Mixlr, Mixlr. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And Periscope, it's more of it's a video and audio stream, like someone at the show can actually stream just from right where they are. And then the Mixlr is more of an audio stream, well, it's strictly an audio stream, and it's the greatest thing. There's you're streaming the shows, and everyone can chat, and it's just it's a whole big family there. It's like hanging out in the lot, I guess you could say. And I mean, everyone's so welcoming and inviting. I mean, I've invited several people on there to come chat and listen to the shows, and they felt so welcomed. I mean, it's just a big family, and we all just sit down, chat about the shows, chat about old shows. We try and call what song they're going to play next, and I mean, Dead and Company, they love playing curveball, so.
I know. You keep thinking something's starting, and then they'll just completely go off the pattern, which I think is really unexpected and fun. I mean, that last show that they played, I mean, looking at that set list, I mean, I've never, the fact that they just twisted everything up and came full circle by the end of the show, but I love how they, mixed up the, the usual plays together and did something different. It creates its own stamp, and it really is something new, and it's something new that is part of what's old and is currently new. So I mean, I think it's good for life. Everything should be going forward, and as long as it's good and it's fresh and people are in, then you gotta just go forward.
I agree 100%. I couldn't say it better myself.
Well, I am going to now have all of our listeners enjoy some of this Dead and Company. So the song that you selected is Road Jimmy, and this is from the Dead and Company at Hartford at the Xfinity Center, which I was so sad to miss because it is my most local venue, but I was away with my family, which was wonderful. And I was fortunate to catch some fantastic shows, but kind of broke my heart to miss this one. But we're going to play.
A wonderful show.
Oh, I know. I was, it was very bittersweet. I was on vacation in California, which was awesome, but I was missing the show. So, And then I missed the California show because I was here. So, I don't know. You just can't be everywhere at once.
You want to wait at the wrong time, that's all.
I know. Well, again, you get what you get. And you don't get upset. That's what I say to my kids all the time.
Hey, we should talk some shows, but...
That's the mom in me. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. So let's enjoy it. Post-show time on Dead and Company. So this is on June 28th, 2016, that we are enjoyed on the Couch Tour. So everybody enjoy.
This one's for you, Mitch. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mitch! Woo! So welcome back, everybody, from listening to Dead and Company. Ro Ginny, again, so good. I mean, they're all so good. And we're going to talk a little more, play one more song, and then we're going to sign off. I want Ian to tell me a little bit about his feelings from the early days, which I think I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. So. Well,
my outtake on it is, how could you like all the late Dead, not necessarily just late Dead, I mean even 70s and 80s, without giving a chance of the early Dead? I mean, that's where they all started. I mean, with Pigpen and Jerry's early playing, it's just how the band formed. It's just the roots of the band. And I mean, personally, I mean, one of my favorite years from the early days is probably 68, and just some of the Darkstar jams into the St. Stephen's to the 11s and whatnot. And I believe we're going to play a Fillmore show. It's Darkstar, St. Stephen, and it's just such an amazing show. And I mean, another one that I absolutely love is I believe it's 10/20/68. That's probably one of my favorite St. Stephen's out there. And I mean, it's just the 68 is just such a good year for them, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree. I love it, and I love watching the evolution of everything. And I looked to download the October 20th, and I was not successful. The show I did download, I thought this was sweet because it was Valentine's Day. It's actually it's all in San Francisco, which is where it was all happening at the time. So I downloaded the February 14th from the Carousel. And in 1968, and what's funny is, and not funny, but as they grew their song list and they added things and the repertoire grew. So when you look at 1968, as I was perusing through concerts, I actually had quite a few concerts to choose from that had the same Stephen Darkstar, because that's what they played over and over. A little schoolgirl.
That's what they loved to play in the 60s.
Yeah, no, I was searching for your songs, and I had a handful of epic concerts to choose from, because, I mean, then as you got into the 70s and the 80s, you know, the set list became so varied. So if anybody is into this and want to hear the differences from 68, while they are mostly stream only, there is, 1020, and there was the Fillmore West, and there's this one, and there's a lot of awesome shows to choose from to hear, you know, how the world. Yeah, they were all inspired and different, but the set lists, I have to say, were fairly similar from that year, because I think the catalog was a lot smaller. So,
really
but that's
they had the longer jams, and they loved what they did, and everyone loved what they did. So, who can complain?
No, I'm not complaining. So let's go into that, and then we will come back and say a sign-off goodbye. So I picked out Darkstar for Ian, and this is, again, not from 1020, because I was not successful in finding a good version of that, but I am going to play from the Carousel on February 14th, 1968. So let's take us back to the days of love in San Francisco in 1968.
You guys are in for a treat.
reflections of matter. Glass and dissolving in ice, little flowers revolving. Radiant velvet recedes in the nights of goodbye.
From listening to Darkstar, and I'm sure we're all in a meditative state, right?
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. Well, this has been so much fun, and you know, I have to also mention that, you know, we're airing this on Tuesday, the 9th of August. So my last podcast went out on Monday the 1st, and so this is going out on Tuesday the 9th, so it's going to mark the anniversary of Jerry's passing.
Right.
And, you know, our hearts are with him. He's with us, right? It's,
he never left.
He never left. He's still here. He's still with us. And, yeah, he created so much. And as we talked about before, it's great that there's new stuff that's coming on. But, you know,
Music never stops.
Music never stops, no. So if there is such thing as a dedication to a Stranger Stopping Strangers podcast, I will dedicate this to Jerry and you know what all he brought and all he brings and you know the whole experience.
For Jerry.
For Jerry, ma'am. Well, all right. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Ian, thank you so much for being a guest.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Absolutely, and for your amazing set list, and I'm excited to be in touch and hopefully meet up at a show one of these days.
That would be awesome.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining. Well, I am so excited to have this guest here today. I'd like to welcome a very special extra guest on Stranger Stopping Strangers podcast, Cosmic Charlie. How do you do?
Oh, I do really well, Staci. I'm glad to be here. My airplane just happened to land. I was out on the avenue. I thought it was a great time to call you, my old friend. How you been?
Well, I've been good. I heard that you were checking in on the podcast, and, you know, every listener has been really meaningful, but, you know, the idea that you have been listening and weighing in your cosmic way has meant the world, and I wanted you to say how do you do and check in with the listeners, so welcome.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, and I hope everybody listening is finding themselves well here after Dead Tour on this special day.
It is a special day. So, obviously everyone's hearts are with Jerry today. Today marks the 21st anniversary of his death, and being a cosmic guy, you're everywhere. Have you been in touch? Do you have any updates for us?
Well, I get to see Jerry on a regular basis because of interdimensional time hopping. It's kind of a hobby of mine, and I built a little machine. It's like a wristwatch, but it's way different, and you don't wear it on your wrist. But so I get to see him, man, and you know what? He's still playing.
Of course he is. Well, I feel like he's still playing with us. I mean, let me know. The music's been going on, but not a day goes by that that we're not thinking about him and feeling his love and his music. Is he here? Is he with us with the current incarnation of the bands and all the people that are playing their music? Is he with us?
Well, there's this whole thing about life cycles and death cycles, and it's been 21 years. And let's just, to put it in earthly terms that everyone can dig, man, like he's kind of like touched dead and company with his finger is how I would put it. And, he's feeling your all's love, and he loves it. He loves it. And he loves what's going on with the community, and it's back, and it's strong, and he loves it.
Well, you know what? I love hearing from you, and I love hearing that, and I know the listeners will too, because, again, not a day goes by that, we listen to the music, and he's with us. So I'm glad to know that you are with him, that he is with us, and we are with him, that the community is with him. And thank you very much for checking in with us and for joining the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm just folding up my canoe, and wait, hold on. Oh yeah, I think I gotta go because my mom is calling me.
Well, go back home if your mom is calling you. We look forward to having you check in again. Lots of love.
Cheers, much love. We'll see you soon.
In the world's 1942, sky was yellow and the sun was blue. Strangers stopping strangers just to shake the hand. Everybody's playing in the heart.
And we'll be back soon.